Hi, good morning. A little bit of Easter crochet, but in the miniature. It could be used for a doll, which I've done, or it could be used just for a little bit of fun. You would only get those little tiny weeny eggs in those. So I have my little friend here, my assistant. I will pick her up carefully. Oh, nearly fell over. Here we have Pippin, and she is modelling our little Easter basket. She's even got some little eggs in there as well. It is so quick, so easy to do. I actually did do it in a cotton yarn though, because it made the basket a little bit firmer, but I don't think it would really matter. I have done a double on the base, as in double layered, which I'll show you what I did on that, just to make it a little bit more solid. But I think it makes quite a cute little basket. I think we could get a cream egg in there. One problem, I ate it. But we would like to see whether, I'm pretty sure cream egg would fit in there. So it would make a little basket for a little cream egg. So it would make a great little gift in that respect as well. But we just got some mini eggs in there at the moment. So this is what we're going to do today. Our little Easter treat makes a great dolly basket, makes a great miniature gift basket, whatever you want it to be. Don't forget, I am in UK terms. And I'll just mention at this point rather than at the end, if you do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share. I know I'm quite eclectic, lots of different things, but predominantly it's crochet, doll crochet and dolls with a few other bits thrown in. So hope you enjoy this video and I will see you in a moment. Well, here we are with our tiny weeny little Easter basket. As I said, I have Pippin here modelling it because it shows you the size. It would be great for most dolls of this size. I mean, she's about a 12-inch doll. So I think it would quite work well. I think it would look cute on some of the larger dolls as well as a little basket. But also, let's take it off our arms. We've got a little bit of stuffing in there that will just hold the eggs in place. We've got these little tiny eggs in here. But it's also big enough to pop a little cream egg in. Not necessarily pop the handle on, you could do, or make a longer handle, but it would work either way. So you could pop a cream egg in there as well. So this is what we're going to make today. It is in UK terms, don't forget. And I've also used, in fact, let me move Pippin out of the way. Or I tell you what I'm going to do before I move Pippin out of the way. I just wanted to show you this. Look, I have some buttons. Are they not cute? They are perfect little buttons as accessories for maybe the larger doll hats. And this is who it's from. They are from Rocket Boy Gifts on Etsy. And they actually personalise these buttons. Look how adorable they are. I'm throwing them at her now. But I am so happy with them. So these are going to be going on some of my hats. And these will be like then, obviously, because I know I make patterns, so people make my items, and I know people do sell them on, etc, etc. But the buttons will show it's an Octopudding original, so it's one I've personally made. I will hopefully get some smaller buttons. I've got to have a little chat with them yet to see if it is possible, because I know obviously the smaller the button, the harder to pop the logos on, so it might just have to say Octopudding. But I am so pleased with them, and I think, let me pop those back in the bag. I think they really do add a dimension to the hat. I think it looks really cute on there, especially with these sorts of colourings as well. I think it looks nice. So at the moment, I think it would be Blythe and Smart Doll hats that this is going to fit. And depending on the hat, some hat designs wouldn't need it. But I'm going to sort of see if there's any chance of getting some smaller ones, which would be really awesome. So I'm going to pop Pippin to one side. Now I've shown you that. And we'll get on what we're meant to be doing. Now, I mentioned I was using a cotton yarn. This is a 4-ply cotton. I have also got some orange, which is only just for these little bits, and that is in acrylic. That is fine to use an acrylic for that. It's fine to use one for this, but I just wanted it a little bit stiffer, so that is why I went for this. If you want to make a slightly larger basket, use a double knit yarn. Like I said, this is just a 4-ply, and I'm also using a 3mm crochet hook. Now, I've recently found out in the US you don't really have a 3mm crochet hook equivalent, so unless you've got some of the hooks from over here, you're not going to have this size. I think it's a 3.25 or a 2.75. So with something like this, you don't need to worry too much about tension, do you? If it comes out a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, it's not the end of the world. But obviously, if you're making any other things, doll items and things like that, this is something we do need to consider. So a tension check is worth it. But with any of us, doesn't matter where you come from, our tensions are all different, so it can still happen no matter what hook size you use. So we'll get on to what we're doing. I mentioned there was like a double layer. So basically this is the base of our basket, but I made 2 of these. I've already made one in advance. You don't want to watch me make the 2, then I will show you what I did. So you need 2 of these. It just makes this bottom a lot firmer, so I think it is worth doing. Again, it is optional. You don't really have to do it. I have some sewing cotton and I use these dinky winky buttons here for the eyes. So I've got some tiny weeny buttons. We will move them over there. I have my needles required, and let's get going with the base of this basket. So obviously I need to start with my slip knot. On it goes and onto the hook, but not too tight. You'll find if you are using a cotton yarn, it doesn't pull as tight anyway. You don't really have much choice because it's a much stiffer, harder sort of fabric to work with. That's why I say it doesn't really matter which you use. I just think this gives a little bit more sort of stiffness to it. So we're going to do 2 chain. Again, not too tight, or you'll not get it back in if you're using cotton. And into the first one, we're going to do 6 double crochets. Remember, UK double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. If you're not sure regarding the actual differences in the actual stitches in different countries, you can just pop on Google and put in crochet hooks if you want, crochet hook conversions, but also crochet stitch conversions, and it will show you the equivalents. A lot of magazines have it in as well, and books, but if it's not something you've got and you prefer just to use YouTube, it might be worth just popping over and getting one of those off Google. So we have 6 stitches in there now. We're now going to have 2 in each, so 2 double crochets into each of the 6, giving us 12. So we have 2 in the first one, we have 2 in the second one, in number 3, in number 4, number 5, and in number 6. So we now have 12 double crochets there. I'm just going to tighten that bit up. It's a little bit harder to tighten up as well when it's cotton, but it does pull if you're careful. Just don't pull it too tight. It can also hurt your fingers if you pull it too tight, I find, with a cotton. You certainly won't be breaking this without a pair of scissors. So we now have 12 stitches. Well, we're going to do that again. So we want 24 stitches, so 2 in each of those 12. So I'm just going to count the stitch now. I'm not going to say 2 in each. So that's our first stitch, our second stitch, our third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. That's halfway there. In number 7, number 2 in each, number 8, number 9, 10, just 2 more sets to go, 11, and 12. So we now have 24 stitches, so we're almost there. You can see it's almost the right size there. So we do need 1 more increase, and that is going to be a combination of 2 in the first stitch, 1 in the next one, a 2, a 1, a 2, a 1, all the way around. So you have that combination 12 times, so it will give us 36 stitches. Now, if you want to pop stitch marker in at this point, please do. I'm going to count for the video, and hopefully I don't distract myself, which is easily done. And we're going to do the combinations. I'll just take a little bit of that yarn out. There we go. So we have 2 in this first one and 1 in the second. So that's our first set of the 12. This is our second set. So there's a 2 and a 1. Third set, 2 and a 1. Fourth set, 2 and a 1. Fifth, 2 and 1 maybe. Right, number 6, 2 and a 1. Just going to pause for a second. Right, so I've done 6, so I'm halfway round now, so make sure I keep track of it. So number 6, so I've stopped halfway point, so I know exactly where I am. I've made a mistake by putting some hand cream on. My hands are really dry. Again, I keep going through these stages where they get really exceptionally dry. So I put some hand cream on, but it feels a bit weird now. My hook's not slipping, but it's not quite holding like I like it. I wouldn't normally put hand cream on if I'm crocheting normally, because you don't want it transferring either. But it does make it more difficult to hold the hooks. I don't recommend that. So right, let's get on to our 7th set here. So we have 2 in that one, 1 in that one. So that's set number 7. 2 in this one, 1 in the next one. That's set number 8. A 2 and a 1. Number 9. We're on number 10 now. Oh, nearly went through the wrong bit there. There we go. So a 2 and a 1. So we've got 2 more sets to go, if I've counted right. 2, 2 and a 1. And our last one, a 2 and a 1. So I'm all the way around. Don't worry about it crinkling up a little bit. It does that sometimes. We're now going to do a double crochet round, which I can't even speak now. I am going to use a stitch marker, but as always I have dozens of them, but I can't see one. I'm trying desperately not to knock the camera. I'm reaching across. I've made it wobble now. Oh, keep it still, camera, keep it still. It's great, this camera stand, but it is on like a bendy stand. So what I'm doing a cheat stitch marker. I haven't got a clue where I've got them. They're always somewhere in the house in various different points, because obviously I'm not going to bother counting on this. We need 36 stitches. I would recommend you do count your 36, and then you know you've definitely got the right amount. But if you're like me, you have distractions in the house, or you're watching TV or something, a stitch marker is a good idea. So we're just going to do 1 double crochet into each of these stitches. Now, if you are a beginner to this, I think you could make it. I've got no worries about that at all. But what I would recommend is that camera's still bouncing, is either put it on a slower sort of watch, because you can alter the settings and slow me down a little bit. Or, to be honest, I think the best way to do it is watch it. See what you think, see if you're happy with what I'm doing, and then sort of stop start. So you do a bit, pause it, do a bit, pause it. I think that's one of the, when you're learning something, I know that's what I do if I'm learning something new, if I'm watching something on YouTube. So that might be the best option. It's very hard to know what speed to go, because everybody works at a different level. So I like to try and do it in real time. I know some people will go, well, that's too fast. Other people will say, well, it's not fast enough. It's almost impossible to get the right tension there. Oh, the right tension, the right speed even. I'm just looking at that one. I think I missed a row on that, because I've definitely got a crochet round on my piece of paper here. I know I was quickly trying to get that one done before I started the video, so it was there ready, but we might have to do a round on it. I'll have a look. Just looking at it from here, I'm pretty sure it's too small. And we need these to be exactly the same size, because we're going to be joining them. No good if they're not the same size. Otherwise you will get a very strange shape for the bottom of your basket. But we'll double check on that in a second. It doesn't take long to do another round. Right, so I'm going to say that is there. Now I'm not fastening off or anything, just for a second, because I just want to check this. Now I'm pretty sure I can see, look, I did an increase there, didn't there? So there's a round missing. Well, you can see there's a round missing, can't you? So what I am going to do then is I'm actually going to fasten this one off. I'm going to fasten it off. Now I've not done my normal slip stitch, because I find it harder to get in the stitch if I do that when I'm crocheting something together. So I have left it with that little bit sort of sticking out. That's okay, because we're going to get rid of that as we sew the both together. So let's pull this one back in that I didn't finish, because I'm going to have to rejoin there. So by doing that, I'm going to undo this last stitch. Now in a cotton, that's not so bad to do, because you can sort of see where the stitch is. On an acrylic, that's not so easy to do. You can just join in normal, but I wanted to make it look a little bit neater. There we go. So I've took it back 1 stitch by doing that. And let's get this double crochet round done. So I'm just going to go in, hold that one there, and pull it through. And we'll tie those off in a second. But at least I can see where I started. So we just got 1 round of double crochets. Of course, I didn't do it right. Or I missed a round, should I say. Not that I didn't do it right. we learn by our mistakes, and I certainly do. I know when people think that I just pick up a crochet hook and make something, which I can sort of do. I have an image in my head and I can pick up yarn and a hook and just go for it. But then there's plenty of times where that doesn't work, but I'm determined to make it work. And I can go through 3 or 4 different variants of something before I'm actually happy with it. I mean, something like this little basket's not so bad. But if it was like a doll outfit, like at the moment I'm making something for one of the tiny weenies, and I had an image in my head, I made it, and it didn't work. So today I'll have to revamp that pattern and restart it, and oh, I don't know. I think I know what I want, but it doesn't always turn into an item. Right, we're nearly round. Now I'm not going to fasten this one off because I'm going to use this thread to actually crochet them together, because I'm crocheting them together. You don't have to. It was best if you do, because it makes it easier for the next section, because you really do need that. But I know not everybody likes crocheting things together, but I would recommend you do it in this particular situation. Are we there? We're nearly there. We are actually there, aren't we? Are we round? Yeah, we're there. One more stitch I'm going to go for. So as I say, I'm not going to fasten this off because I'm going to continually use this. I do though. Now you wouldn't normally have this. This isn't because I made the mistake. You wouldn't normally have this extra thread here. Because I've had to add the extra yarn. Right, so because this is going to be the inside, so it's going to be wrong sides facing when we put it down. So you could sew these ends in. If you were good and well behaved, you would sew them in. If you're naughty like me, I'm going to cut them off because they're going to be on the inside. You're not going to see them. And I'm going to do the same with this, but make sure this is really tight. Sometimes you do need to run it round to make sure it's not going anywhere, but I'm going to, just for speed, cut it off. It really should be threaded through. This one we do need to try and get rid of because it's going to be, well, you could crochet it in, but it is going to be well and truly in the way if I don't. Now, I've said I'd put the needle there and I've put the wrong one out. Where is it? I like the slightly sharper ones, even though it means they have smaller eyes here, but it does make it easier to get into your work. Harder to thread, but easier to get into the work. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into that next stitch like that. Just flattens it off a bit. You can see how that's flattened it down. And then I'm just going to thread it through just a few times just to make sure it's not going anywhere. And then we can trim it off and it'll be out of my way and I don't need to worry about it. Ta-da! That will do. Oh, tell my, I've got big scissors here. I've got 2 projects on the go that I take downstairs at night because my craft room's upstairs. And my scissors are in both of those because they're 2 different projects. So, as I mentioned, we need, so this one's still on, yeah? We need wrong sides together. Get my yarn out of the way. And basically, I'm going to go into the next stitch and through one on the other side. And we're going to do a double crochet. And we're going to do that again into this one and into this one. Can you see though, before I go any further, I've gone completely like into the 2 parts there and the 2 parts there. So you should see 4 bits on there when you do that. So we're going to go all the way around and crochet this bottom of the basket together. Once we've done that, it's actually the longest part to do. As long as they're lined up and you've got the same amount of stitches, it should flow. Every now and again you need to double check where your stitches go. Like that one I need to check, it is there. So just keep making sure they are lined up as you crochet them together. If your base still felt too soft, I think this might hit if you used an acrylic yarn, depending on the yarn. I mean, some are quite thick. You could also pop a piece of card between them, but it depends on whether you're planning on the item getting wet at any point. And these are going together nicely. Yeah, so you can see we have this crochet edge. This is why we really need to do it. scrap that I even mentioned sewing it together. It needs to be crocheted together, otherwise you're not going to be able to add the next stage of the basket on very easily. I think we are almost round. And say if you're wanting to add a little circle of card or a little circle of plastic, now would be the time to do it before you finish off. Just make it slightly smaller than the circle and it should fit in nicely. Yeah, a little bit of plastic might be a good idea, because then again it doesn't matter if it gets wet. Just a few more stitches to go. Always harder these last bits because they sort of like fold over, but we do need to make sure they are even. There we go. So I'm round, and that just makes a solider base. Now if we look at my little guy, this bit needs to be the I can't speak, the underneath bit, okay? This bit, which is sort of technically looks like the wrong side, it's not, but can you see how you get the ridge? I want this one with the ridge there at the bottom. Yeah, and what we're going to be doing, we're not going to fasten off, we're going to now continue making the actual basket sides, and we're going to do one round of double crochets, but only in the back loop. Now I know some of you will know what this means, but just in case somebody is brand new to it and they might not understand, you can see there's these two pieces, aren't there? Well, the back loop obviously is the back one, and that's all we're going to pick up. We're going to do a double crochet into all those back loops. So I am going to pop in a marker, because I will be talking. There you go. And let's go back loop every single one of these double crochets all the way around. And this is our first round to turn the basket, sort of shapes it round. And by doing the back loop, you get like a little ridge, which is like the bottom of the basket then as well. It's a little bit more tricky because it's sort of like trying to fold over on itself, but keep going, because after this round they're going to be full crochets into both parts, so it will be easier. It's just this particular round is a little bit more difficult. I'm just looking, I think I've done what I nearly always do. My first effort, like this one, I usually just do, like, if I can get one out without worrying and not having to redo it, I usually find the second one, for some reason, comes out a little larger. I don't know whether I get more stressed when I'm doing the first one, so I sort of tense up. I don't know what it is. But for whatever reason, my second ones come out a little bit bigger. It's either that, or I've just increased an extra row. But I don't see that I would, because they did both fit, didn't I? Because I know I said I'd missed a round. So either that or else I did that one wrong. But it doesn't really matter for this particular design. This is the beauty of crochet. You can get away with it. If you wanted to make this bigger, you would just make the base bigger before you carried on. But I think you would need either that bit of plastic or bit of card in between them if you did that, because obviously the bottom will go a bit soggy when you put anything in it. Right, we are round. Can you see it's already trying to turn itself? But what we want to do is we want to push it this way, because this ridge we want at the bottom, so it's got to be the underneath. So we push it round, and you can already see we have a little bit of a basket shaping there. It is bigger, isn't it? Oh, look at that. Never mind. We're going to now do, I will go for this size, because this is definitely the size I've written down, so I don't know what I did there. Because I've got the paper here sat next to me that I've written it on. We are now going to do double crochet rounds, and you're going to have 6 of them, or if you want to make it a little bit deeper, entirely up to you. So we're going to start with the 6, and we will have a look. I'm going to leave that stitch marker in so it gives us an idea. So remember, this where the ridge is our underneath, so that's the side I'm going to have facing me whilst I'm working on this, because now we're going to go in each double crochet. Now it might not feel like it's turning much for the first couple of rounds even, but then after a while you will see how the basket is shaping. So just one double crochet into each of these double crochets. I keep looking across at my pattern while I'm doing it, trying to work out why this one's bigger. So the numbers are definitely there that we've done. What I'm going to do is when I get round to this stitch marker, I'm going to count this round. I'm wondering if I've added stitches. The problem of talking and crocheting at the same time. Perhaps I should just be quiet. And I'm sure some of you will agree. I'll just keep going. At this point, you can sort of whiz ahead and get your 6 rounds done and come back to me. Or if you want to stay with me, you are more than welcome while we sort of chatter along and get this done. I'm almost round with our first round. Like I say, at the minute it looks like it's curling the wrong way, but it will push itself out. Don't worry about it. Oh, there's a call coming. It says it's just come up with a message. I'm not seeing that before. It says if you accept the call, obviously recording will stop. So it's my daughter. She knows I'm doing it, so I'm sure she will be okay. She'll send me a message if it's important. So we can see it's starting to turn. Yeah, that's round 1. So I'm going to count them this time and see if I've actually got 36 or whether I've increased. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Right, I'm tempted to say I'm okay, because usually if I've got 36 I want and I've got just past 18, I'll look about halfway, so I think I'm okay. That was 19, wasn't it? 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 and 36. Right, well I have the right number. So, and I think that's looking okay. I think we're getting there. I'm just going to write down, I've got my pencil here. So we've just done 2 rounds and I said we needed 6, don't we? So you can see it shaping up. So let's continue round. We've got 4 more rounds to go. I'm not going to count them this time because we don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to speed up a little bit here. As I say, if you're not crocheting along at my speed, you might have stopped or started or even gone ahead of me. Got to decide if I'm doing any more Easter items. Easter's not far away. We have got a couple of weeks though, haven't we? So you might want to do some last minute gifts or something like that. So I might have to think. I know I just did my bee. If you want to do the Easter things, I've just done the bee cream egg cover. If you've not seen that one, I was quite pleased with the image, really sweet. But I've got to have a think what I want to do. I don't know whether to do an actual little toy or whether to do another chocolate cover. I do enjoy doing those. Right, we're almost round with round 3. One more. Right, so mark that down. So we're halfway through with our rounds. I mean, and you can definitely see we have a basket forming. And you can definitely see it's slightly larger than my first one. Oh, I'm going to stop worrying about it. We're going to go with this size. I think this will be nice. You can still nicely sit a cream egg or similar sort of egg. There's so many different eggs, isn't there, this size? So we're going to get on. We've got 3 more rounds to do. and then you will have a tiny, oh, help if I use the right end of the crochet hook as well, wouldn't it? So this is round 4. After these 6 rounds, there is a tiny decrease just to bring it in a little bit, and then we got the little handle. Now, depending on what you're doing with the basket, you might not want the handle on it, or you might want the handle longer. That is something that's entirely up to you when we get to that point. He has 2 little wings, obviously, but I'm sure you've already worked out they're quite simple. And the detailing, we've got this little tuft, little crest on his head, and the little beak. Now, as I mentioned, I've used buttons. You don't have to use buttons. You could use beads. You could even sort of embroider the features on. Some really cute, if you look on Google, you'll see different sort of images of what people have done, and there's some really cute embroidered ones, designs. But it's entirely up to you. But please remember, if it is going to a younger person as a gift, you have to think, you know, is there a chance that it's going to go in their mouth? Is there a chance it's going to sort of pop off if it's not sewn on properly? And, you know, the risk of swallowing, etc., etc. So you do need to think about that when you are making these gifts, especially if you're doing them for charity, because I know some of you out there make the items and they'll either go to church fairs, school fairs, things like that, and they're done for charity, which is absolutely amazing, but you don't want to risk somebody else getting hurt. So always think about that when you are making items. So that's round 4, and it's coming together nicely. Round 5. She has just sent me a message, my daughter. I saw part of it and the camera stands in the way for some of it. Something about a dance leotard. My granddaughter's absolutely loves doing a dance. She's only 7. But we've got to make her an outfit for a new tap that she's doing. She keeps sending me messages. I hope it's not beeping on here on the video. So she's just showing me design ideas, I think, of what we've got to do. It should be quite sweet. She's actually doing a tap routine to Elton John's I'm Still Standing. We've seen the video we're practicing. It's ever so sweet. But we also want to get an outfit sorted that's sort of like a bit of a tribute to Elton John. Tribute, is that the right word? Homage, is that the right word? I don't know. I always find that hard to... Which one is it? Oh, I don't know. I'm sure you'll let me know. I want it to be a little bit inspired by the video of the time. So I think that should be a bit of fun. So it should be sort of quite, I don't know, exciting in colours and things like that. Right, we're almost around on our round 5, which means we've only got 1 more to go. We're doing well. We're on a roll. I've not even looked at the time, so I don't actually know how long this video is taking, but we have done larger items, so it shouldn't be taking that long. That's the thing, a lot of things I do in half trebles, don't I? So that it's a little bit quicker. I mean, you could do this in half trebles if you wanted. You would actually have less rounds to do. But I think the stability of a double crochet is better. It's much sort of tighter, which makes it much firmer when you're making something like this. I usually use the cottons if I'm making doll hats, as in sun hats, you know, hats that need a bit of structure. I know there's a peaked cap I've done that's in a cotton, and also, as I say, a sun hat, because you've got the brim and that. So sometimes you do need that sort of strength of a cotton yarn. This is one of my favourite cottons, actually. It's a Peyton's 100% cotton, and they do a full range of colours, but they do the full range in both double knit and 4-ply, so, which is great, because if I want to make a hat for a bigger doll and exactly the same hat for a smaller doll, I have a choice of 2 colours there. Now, I've been really bad and I've not written down about, oh, I'm going to have to count my rows. I hate counting rows or rounds or whatever I'm counting. Right, what have I got here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have my 6. Right, so I have my little basket, so you can see it's there. So on this next round, I'm just going to curve it in that tiny little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 together, 7, 2 together, 7. So we'll do that 4 times. So you've just decreased by 4 stitches, but it just shapes it round a little bit, that's all. So 2 stitches together. Remember, we go in 1, we pull it through, we don't finish the stitch. We go into the second one, pull it through. We have 3 on the hook, pull it through all 3. That is my 2 together. 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We need a 2 together, so in, pull it through. Next one, pull it through all 3. 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 2 together. 1 and the second one, pull through all 3. 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my yarn nearly ended up on the floor. I just got it in down. Was that 4, wasn't it? 5, 6 and 7. Our last 2 together. And then our last 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Yes, spot on. I think we can take that out now. So I think we've got a nice little shape basket there. I think that just slight curve just gives it a little bit of something else. Now for the handle, we're going to stay where we are and we're going to do three double crochets. So we're going to go 1, 2 and 3. We're going to do a chain. We're going to turn our work. We're going to go into that one at the bottom there, which is our first stitch, and we're going to do 3. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to do a chain. We're going to turn. We're going to do 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Chain and turn. 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Chain and turn. This is our 5th one. 1, 2 and 3. And I'm just going to pause there a second. So you can see what's happening. We're forming our little sort of handle over. Now what I think I'm going to do there is I'm just going to count my stitches. I have 5, 10, I have 15 rows according to my count there. Let's have a quick look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's more than 15 there, isn't there? Right, I think I did about 20 on that. This is where your decision has to come in, because if this is going to have a cream egg, you might need a much longer handle. You might not want a handle. You might just want it like a cute little basket to sit on the side. You may want a thinner or longer handle to hang on an Easter tree or something like that. So it's entirely up to you. We got to 5, so I will carry on. Perhaps I was going to stop and go on to the next bit, but no, we'll carry on. So that's 5. This is 6. So I do my chain and turn. 1, 2. Oh, nearly missed that bit. Make sure you get the full stitch. That was 6. I'm going to turn. And this is 7. 1, 2 and 3. And chain and turn and 8. 1, 2, 3. Chain and turn. 9. 1, 2 and 3. Chain and turn. This is our 10th. 1, 2 and 3. Chain and turn for number 11. 1, 2. You get into a bit of a rhythm for this one. And 3 and chain and turn. We've got row 12. Yeah. 1, I had to think then. 2 and 3. Chain and turn. 13. 1, 2, 3. Chain and turn. 14. 1, 2, 3. Chain and turn, and we'll do the 15, and we're going to have a look while it sits. 1, 2 and 3. So that, for example, would come over about there, which is a little bit shallow, but you've got to remember it's also a yarn, so it will stretch a little bit, but I think we need a couple more. So we did 15 there, so we're going to go for 18, I think. So did I do the chain? No, we didn't. Chain and turn. So this is number 16. 1, 2 and 3. Chain and turn. This is 17. 1, 2 and 3. Chain and turn. And this is our 18. So let's have a look what 18 looks like. Again, you may need to adjust to whatever length you're wanting. Let's have a look. I think 18 is okay. I'm going to write this up as a pattern, so it will be available on my website as well. So I'll pop a link below, and I'm going to put 18, but I will also put in brackets the length isn't, you know, sort of up to you. Now we need to sort of attach this over here. I think the best way to do it is stitch in this particular situation. You can crochet it down, but stitching will be smoother. So I'm just going to cut that off. Enough yarn there for stitching on the other side. I mean, that's more than enough, but it's always best to have too much than not enough. And let's have a look what we're going for next. Wings. We need some wings. Of course we need 2 wings, but I'm just going to do the 1. In we go. Oh, knock the camera. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Right, I think we're stabilized. I know it makes you feel really dizzy when that happens, doesn't it? So we have 2 chain, 6 double crochets into the first one, which I'm sure you probably already guessed by looking at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now we're going to be doing 2 in each to give us our 12. I really shouldn't have eaten that cream egg, because then I could have put it in as an example, but never mind. That's 2. Do love a cream egg. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5 and 6. So now we have 12 stitches. Now it's not going to alter a lot, but you can see how I've sort of got a little bit of a curve going off here. This is why. You could just again leave it at this if you wanted to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. So I have 1, 2 and 3. Yeah. Then I'm going to do 2 half trebles in the next stitch. 1, 2. I'm going to do 2 trebles in the next one. 1 and 2. Then I'm going to do 2 half trebles in the next one, so we're coming back down in size. 1 and 2. And then I'm just going to do 3 double crochets, 1 in each one. So 1, 2 and 3. It doesn't go all the way around, but that's okay, because it makes this a little bit flatter at that end. And that's it. That's your wing. So obviously we need 2 of those. Now, as I've just mentioned, it sort of makes it a little bit flatter at the top there, because this bit I've done for the bottom, and this bit along here is what I would do to stitch on. And when it's on, then you can just sort of curl your little wing round if you're wanting it curled. You might not want it curled. Right, let's have a look at this acrylic yarn then. This is a 4-ply. It's actually a baby 4-ply. I didn't really have a bright orange in 4-ply, so this is a little bit of a muted colour. We're going to take our basket. You decide, front or back, whichever one that you want to be that. Let me just turn my paper over. I've just called it a tuft on here. I really need to find something to call it rather than a tuft. So I'm going to find centre point. It would have been a good idea to sew that on first, but I'm just going to do this to demonstrate to yourselves. So I've gone in a stitch. I've gone for, say that's the middle, because I want 3. So you can see there is 3 in there. So I've gone, well, that's the middle. So I'll have 1 that side, 1 that side. That will do. So here we go. If I can get the yarn on my hand properly, I don't know what it's doing there. I'm going to pull this yarn through. I'm going to do a chain. And then I'm going to do a double crochet back into it. That's more of an anchor rather than anything else. We're going to do 3 chain. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to go back into the same stitch with another double crochet. Yeah, we're going to go into the next one with a double crochet. We're going to do 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3, and back in the same stitch with a double crochet. We're going to do the same again, so in, double crochet, 1, 2, 3 chain, back in with a double crochet. And that's it. There you go. That's our little sort of comb, our little tuft. I suppose if it depends on how old it is. If it's only a little chick, I suppose it's just a little tuft of fluff that it's got there. So I'm going to call it a tuft for now. And obviously you need to sew your ends in there. But I think that works out quite nice. So it just gives it a little bit of colour as well to the work. Now, the only other bit that's going to require yarn is the little beak. Now, with the beak, it's a bit of a weird one. Now, it is stitched on, but it's like a knot as well, if that makes any sense. I'm going to show you, I think, the best way. So I need a piece of my yarn. It's about 30 centimetres long, that perhaps. I will get my needle and thread it up. Now I'm just double checking what I did on that point. Yes, I did. We're going to need a little knot in the end. Sometimes I don't do it when it's knotted. Sometimes it's best to avoid knots if you can help it. Make a nice knot there. And just trim that tuft off the end. And I need to find, his beak obviously is going to go in line, so it's about here. So I'm going to pop it through. Now I've done it again with camera. I've tried to go through a stitch, not in the spaces, because it holds it a little bit better. I'm going to push it back through to the other side for now. Now you can do this however you want. You can just sort of do a little point if you want. You don't have to do it like this. And then I'm going to come through. Now can you see that I've got this little bit here? I'm going to push it through that and make a little knot, and then I'm going to push it back through. It takes a little while doing it this way, but it does build it up nicely. I'm going to push it through. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to do it again. So it's just like making a little knot. There we go. Push it back through. You see how it's sort of just building up into like a little lump by doing that. Push it through. Make a little knot. Oh, careful, make sure it does pull through. I'm going to do it one more time. You see how it's starting to stick out now? So I'm going to go through. Now you'll see I'm making the knot slightly different now. Because basically I'm just sort of picking up right underneath and through, and that would be it. You need to sew that in the back, but it makes enough of a little beak. You could do just a little V, which I've done on a lot of my little chicks, which is quite a nice way of doing it. And then of course we will add our little eyes. So there's our slightly unfinished little chick in there, and here's my original one. So hope you can enjoy making this. Any problems, give me a shout. But I will actually, as I say, get a pattern put up and onto my website. That's something I do need to sort out. But again, some of it you might need to adjust. But I think that's a nice cream egg size. Or maybe we've got these little chocolate eggs there. You could fill it with tiny weeny chocolate eggs. Again, it makes a great sort of photo thing for your dolls if that's what you're doing, but it also makes a really cute sort of gift as well. So I'm just going to call it Tiny Easter Basket, I think, but I will pop a picture of my doll on the end, and I'm going to pop some photos on the end of the video as well, so you can have a little look at her holding them. But I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed making him. I've got a little bit of sewing in there to do, haven't I? If you do enjoy the videos, again, please like, subscribe and share, and I will see you all very soon with possibly another Easter make. But of course there'll be lots of other things as well. So I'll see you very soon, and thank you so much for watching. So bye bye for now.